Morning, gorgeous. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to be inside because it's a little bit damp out, and that is good news, by the way. I never have a problem with rain because it's been quite dry, and a little bit of moisture is a very good thing. It's not much, but it's some, and I'm really pleased to have that. So we're in here because it's windy out as well. And the good thing about that is it means we get to play with rocks. And so here's our first little crystal friend. This is iron pyrite. Sparkly wee thing. Morning, Lisa Louise. Morning, Alicia. Lovely to see you both. Just enjoying our little crystal friends today. A little piece of pyrite. It's always so sparkly and pretty and, you know. What else do I need to say about it? It's pyrite, it sparkles, it's, you know, sometimes called fool's gold because it looks a bit like gold. It's not really yellow enough, but it's lovely. Good morning, Julian. Lovely to see you. This is really nice. I'm very fond of this. This is tiger iron. So it's a mixture of tiger's eye, which is a kind of, it's something that was quartz. It's had something happen to it and it changes it. Oh, good for you, Lisa. It's good that you're feeling better today. And it's got the shiny grey stuff, which I think, oh God, which we call hematite, but, you know, it's not, my brain's not working today. Anyway, it's stripes of stuff, and I'm really fond of this. It's a bit hard to show you what's in between the tiger's eye, but it's a mixture of tiger's eye and the shiny stuff that we sometimes call magnetite. It's really pretty. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, good morning. I am a little bit dopey today. There's some interesting process going on in my body and in my brain. Had an amazing meditation, but I don't really feel like I'm here yet. So there you go. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the bridge. Welcome to this space. Welcome to today. This, of course, is tourmaline, black tourmaline, and this is a beautiful piece that I'm very fond of because it's so interesting. It's a little bit like rooftops in a city, you know. And yeah, what else do I need to say? It's this fabulous sort of obvious crystalline shape here, and it's very reflective. And then, you know, there's a natural fracture plane here, and more shiny bits on the other side with this kind of valley in them. And it's just all really nice. And there's a sort of a vaguely, you know, more perfect termination on the crystal at the end. It's just lovely. It's a really, excuse me, itchy nose, really lovely stone. Last but not least, this is jasper, right? And it's called bloodstone because it's got these little red marks in it somewhere. This one doesn't have an awful lot of it. What you can see is that there's yellow and green and blue. Good morning, Colette. And it's this lovely shiny thing which sits in your hand really beautifully. Somewhere there's red bits, but they're not coming up very well on the camera. And it's just a beautiful, I mean, look at that. Look at the shape, how the light plays over it. It's got little dents in it. It's been tumble polished. I think, actually, yeah, what you can't see is that what shows up as yellow on the camera has actually got red running through it. Very much like veins, actually. Oh, you can sort of see it at the top there. See that? So it's a beautiful stone, and it's lovely to hold and, you know, play with. It just fits in your hands really well. So today, what I want to talk about is relationships, and it's because one of you that I've recently connected with, good morning, Jasmine, lovely to see you. You write amazing words, and you know who you are. And there was a post about the fact that, you know, you can bust your ass trying to make somebody love you, right? Pretty much, trying to make somebody love you or trying to keep a relationship going. And fundamentally, if a person's going to leave you or betray you or whatever, they're going to do it. Paula, good morning, lovely. And there's nothing you can do about the fact that sometimes people are just going to go away and they're going to leave you, and it's kind of like, well, I just got to man up and get on with my life. Lily, good morning, beautiful being. And I thought, well, yeah, that's true. We do need to move forward. We do need to look forward. And, the future is now. It's not in the past. It's not in the fact that something's happened that we didn't want or that a person's gone away or whatever. But I thought there's a little bit more to it from my perspective than just saying, well, I've got to move forward. Because what happens is that people move on forward, and they do, but they move on forward with all of the stuff, all of the unfinishedness and the I'm sorry that person's gone and the, all of the aftermath of that relationship still very much being with them. So they move forward into their life, but they're really moving forward as the person that is stuck in the fact that that relationship ended. So, you keep moving into your day, but you kind of stopped. Some part of you, or maybe a large part of you, depending upon the size of the betrayal and the breakup and, whatever, actually just gets stuck in that breakup. And so I wanted to talk about that. Not that I have gone through traumatic breakups. Oh, I've gone through breakups, but it was a long time ago. Sophia, good morning! So I can't talk about that from recent personal experience at all. Because I've been with my soulmate since 1995, which seems like no time at all. Just to tell you that it can happen. Bits of me are itchy. It's because there's energy moving through my body, and when energy moves through my body, bits of me itch. So forgive me, it's just what happens. So when a relationship ends, I think it's very easy to, of course you're going to feel, unless it was a horrible thing and there's a large part of you that's going, oh my God, I'm glad that's over. And even when there is that, because, you can feel that and still feel regret, still feel loss, still feel grief. And I don't really want to go down that pathway of how we can actually be addicted to negative, unhealthy, bad relationships. But we can, right? There can be, oh my God, I'm glad, it's a relief. Why am I feeling relieved? I miss that person so much. Right? You can have that going on. Heather, good morning. Lovely to see you. But whatever it is that's going on, there are the feelings and there is change in circumstances. Somehow or other, your life's going to change. You're not going to see that person again, or you're not going to do particular things together again. And I want to extend this past from romantic relationships to family relationships and working relationships and community relationships and, even a relationship with yourself. Pre-diagnosis, post-diagnosis. Arlan, good morning. Beautiful to see you. Whenever there is I'm still itching. Whenever there is a significant change in your life, it's like there is a before that thing self and there is an after that thing self. And I think we actually have to be aware of that. That if you keep on trying to be the self that you were before whatever it was changed, then you're not really able to move on. You get stuck in that old self. And you get stuck with its grief, and you get stuck with the loss, and you get stuck with the patterns and the thinking and the who you think you are and how your life goes. And yet time is marching on and you're walking, through your life doing different things, and yet you're walking through your new life as the old person. And that doesn't work very well. So we never, and relationships are just one thing that can just change, and it can happen slowly, or it can happen very suddenly. And suddenly there's an old you and a new you. And I think we really need to realise that that's what happens. Lisa, good morning. Tracy, good morning. We actually have to realise that, okay, something significant in my life has changed. Who was I before that? And who am I now? Yeah, it is old self, new self. Exactly, Julian. Yeah, well, there can be lots of reasons for being itchy, Tracy. For me, it's something I've recognised in my meditations, that when energy moves, I just itch, and it's because it's moving along meridians. But it seems to be happening a lot right now, so it's scratching little bits of me. But let's go back to the example of a relationship. when a relationship ends, and you know, assuming there is some level of investment and there's a loss and whatever, you're actually going to have to recognise that, and that's fine. But there is a new you that is kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for you to recognise it and say, okay, who am I without this person? And I think that's a huge question that people don't realise they need to ask. Who am I without that person, without that job, without that previous state of health, without my money, without my car, without my whatever, you know? When you've had a loss, really this is about loss. We've just put it in the frame of relationship because that's what this beautiful person was writing about. You know, when you lose that feeling of love or attachment or connection or belonging or whatever it is, and it's not even who are you without it, it's more like who do you want to be without it. It is up to us how we want to change. And so, you know, this person that I love for however long is no longer in my life. And there are default programs and ideas in your mind and in your body and everything. Vinita, good morning. That say, oh, well, you need to be sad. You need to be, however, you know, how is it that you assume that you're going to feel when a relationship ends? Just question that for a moment. How much of that have you learned from the media, from watching your family, from watching your siblings, from watching your friends? Maria, good morning. Linda, you have no idea. My body shakes like a crazy thing. But, you know, I just let it. The energy moves. Christina, good morning. So, who do I actually want to be? And let me not assume that how I think I'm going to be is actually how I want to be. Norma Jean, good morning. It's a really deep question when you've had a loss and you want to think, well, hang on. Okay, do I want to spend the next however long feeling sorry for myself, for example, or repeating to myself the story, oh, you know, the person's left again. This is what always happens to me. This is my life. This is how it is. You know, what things are you running in your awareness that says this is how it's always going to be? Because that's often what we do, because there are often these things that repeat. So, okay, I'm the person that when relationships break up, I feel disappointed in myself and I just sort of, you know, slap myself around a bit and says, oh, well, you know, it was your fault or maybe it was their fault, but it's always like this. And I'm just going to mope around for a while and then eventually I'll meet someone else, but it's probably going to be the same. And all of this is running as a kind of a subtext. You're not really thinking about it. But if you pay attention to who you're being, hi Janet, morning lovely. If you pay attention to who you're being and think, hang on a minute, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Who have I assumed that I'm going to be? How have I assumed that I'm going to feel? Oh, I have to feel sad because this relationship's over. Do you? Really? Do you? Who says? Who says? Who says? I feel like I'm speaking to somebody. It's like, why do you have to feel that certain way? Really? For that long? For this long? Somebody, you know, a relationship broke up however long ago it was and you're still mired in the sorrow and the grief? Let me just wind this back a bit. Hi, Faye. Morning. When we have an emotion, what's happened is that a neural net inside your brain has fired, right? It's fired. And when that neural net inside your brain, which is associated with a particular stimulus in your environment, fires, you have an emotional response. This is how it works. And we're doing this all the time. But when the emotional response is powerful, you know, there's a lot of neural nets about I've been betrayed, for example. Pause chemistry. Do you know how long the effects of that chemistry lasts, actually? 90 to 120 seconds. Seconds! That's how long the chemistry lasts. It's called the refractory period. So if you have a betrayal or a loss or whatever, and you are still mired in the emotion of that experience 6 months later, you are keeping it going. Your body is not doing that. You have programmed your body to be the mind for you of that loss. It just carries on. And that's the thing, Norma Jean. It actually doesn't pass if we keep it going. It's amazing. I mean, it should. It can. But what happens is, and you know, it's easy to fall into this. You have a powerful experience, and we'll stay with betrayal, right? Could be anything, right? And because it's so powerful, and remember I talked about this on Friday, I had a really powerful experience in my meditation. It changed me. I did some stuff in the evening that would normally have triggered fear and no response. It changed me. Powerful experience. It was awesome. So I know how this works now, even more from experience. You have a deep betrayal. Your brain pays attention to everything in the environment, the person, the situation, the feelings, you know, and you keep rehearsing it over and over in your brain because your brain says this is a bad betrayal. I feel a lot of loss. I should feel loss. I should feel pain because this was awful. And round it goes, and you keep firing and wiring that neural net that says I've been betrayed. I feel sad. I feel lost. It will only pass if you let go of it. Exactly. So that refractory period keeps going and going and going and going, and then it becomes hardwired in your brain, and it becomes the conditioning of your body, and your body gets used to it, and it says, I want to keep feeling that now. Every time I go past that place where I used to be with my ex, every time I think that particular thought or see that colour or smell that smell or whatever it is, I'm going to get another fix of my misery chemicals. That is literally how it works, and we get addicted to the very emotions we don't want to keep feeling. So the way to let it go for me is I got to become somebody else. I got to become the person I want to be. And that means breaking that addiction in my brain and in my body. So I got to know who I want to be without that person. Okay, so I want to feel free. I want to feel good in myself. I want to know how I'm going to be and what I'm going to do in certain situations if they're still around in my life. Or, you know, I actually need to work that out. I don't immediately know. Quite often I don't immediately know who I want to be when I'm creating a new self. Who do I want to be? Let me design my new future. Now, what feelings am I going to have to let go of, withdraw my addiction from, to be that new self? And by the way, you know, this morning I just discovered a real deep connection and practically an addiction to fear. Oh my God, this morning I was facing some fear. And I was in the space where I was able to let it go, but oh my goodness, I really don't want to let this go. Why? Because it was protective. That fear keeps me safe. I need that fear. Without that fear, I'm going to be in trouble. No, I don't need that. But I've got to know who I want to be. To really move forward, I have to look at who I've been and say, okay, you know, that relationship had some good things in it. I like the way I was with that person, XYZ. I'm going to carry that forward. I'm going to realize, I'm going to remind myself I do not need that person to be this person that I want to be. And by the way, if you want to be happy, Kelly Bird, morning gorgeous, if you want to be happy with another person, you better be happy with yourself first. If you want to be in love with another person, you better be in love with yourself first. If you want to be complete with another person, you better be complete in yourself first. You cannot complete yourself by going and being with another person. You will only be with someone who's as incomplete as you, and you will do incompleteness together. That's how it works. Like attracts like. We cannot get away from this. It's the law of the universe. So, you know, who do you really want to be in your next relationship? Okay, get busy being that person now in your own space. Kyle, it's been ages. Lovely to see you, gorgeous. You know, we have to create ourselves now And you can't say, oh, well, I can't feel loved or whole or whatever until I'm in my next relationship. Your relationship's not going to do it for you. You got to do it for you, and then somebody else who's doing it for themselves as well will come and join you, and you can keep on creating yourselves whole and being whole together. That's actually how it works. It is my life. You're right, Kyle. I got to choose to be happy, and this was the thing that drove me crazy for a long time because I really didn't understand how it works, and I just got enough time to tell you. So remember I said before, you have a betrayal and your brain goes, oh, I've been betrayed and this is how I feel, and the chemistry pours, right? What I didn't understand, because it felt so wrong, was that if I can think a thought and have chemistry pour that makes me feel sad, and I can do that automatically because I've just practiced it so much that I think it's me, I can learn to do the same thing with a positive feeling. I really didn't understand how it worked. I can actually choose to practice gratitude or joy, which was like, don't talk to me about freaking joy. I don't know what joy is. I know what joy is now. I'm getting better at feeling joy. And yeah, it's a skill. Believe me, for me, it's been an absolute skill to learn to get to a place where I can feel joy, because it was really inaccessible for such a long time. So as much as we can practice being sad and miserable and angry and bitter and whatever else it is, and that's normal, it's accepted, it's understood, we can practice being the other things too. So we have a choice to stay mired in the experience or to keep moving forward. Either way, we're practicing, we're firing and wiring, we're having feelings. Yeah, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And it's a journey, because, we've got all this programming and conditioning that says, no, you're not worthy, you're not lovable, you're not okay, and here's all the reasons why, and all those neural nets about all the things you've said, been said to you, all the things that you look back at and regret, and the things that happen, all of that stuff. That all comes up, but it's very familiar and it's hardwired in your brain. That doesn't mean you can't create a new neural net. It doesn't mean you can't practice being someone else. You just got to realize it's going to feel really wrong and really strange and really weird, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not succeeding. It's just part of the process, because you're used to being that other person who's, I'm so betrayed, the relationship's over, I've got to feel miserable now, because it always is like this. No, it's not. That's just who you've been being. And we have to make a very deep choice about who we want to be, and we actually have to let go of the pain. Now, that's not just a conscious, I'm not going to feel sad anymore. No, we have to practice. We have to practice. I talked a lot about that, and I've just said, I have to practice feeling happy. It was not automatic. It was automatic for me to feel sad and mostly scared. Everyone's got a dominant emotion. Mine was fear. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm curious to see what your comments were. I've seen some of them, but there's probably more, because Facebook doesn't show me them all when I'm live. And it looks like we're talking about relationships, at least for now this week. So let me know what you think. I'd love to know if you've got any curly questions. Particularly about codependency. What are your questions? What do you fall over? Not that I'm an expert, but maybe we can have a good conversation about it. I'm out of time, beautiful being. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Big love. Bye-bye.